singing. The words will be behind me on the screen. Today we're going to be singing something from our great hymnal, From You I Receive. I will sing it once. I'll welcome you to join me the second time through. On times 3 and 4, I will also welcome you to sing in harmony, harmonize, if you feel so moved. So I'll begin. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live in harmony. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Thank you.
Good morning. Today, as we gather on the shores of the Kitchissippi, I'm reminded of a member of the Paiute Nation I met in Oregon. Upon hearing I was from Ottawa, or Ottawa, he mentioned the song Signs by Ottawa's five-man electrical band. I was pleasantly surprised that he knew of this song and this group. We shared a common concern about settler commercial signage, logging of scenery, and other spoiling of traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory. We acknowledge that our campus is located on this land and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those who have ears to live here, and to be of service to those who are at risk and advocate for justice. And I have some more announcements. I know we've been talking about shortening them, we're not quite there yet. We'd like to welcome Joanne Beckett and Patrice Simster as new members. The Unitarian Go-Go's will be holding a sale of African art and artifacts and fellowship hall after the service. All proceeds go to the Stephen Lewis Foundation. Save the date for a special fundraiser for our congregation. On Sunday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. there will be a concert here in Worship Hall by UU folk legend Joe Jenks. Tickets will be available online and at the door. And from the Fall Fair team, if anyone has jewelry for the Fall Fair, please drop it off at the congregation office as soon as possible. And we're looking for help putting up posters around the city for the Fall Fair and the Joe Jenks concert. Please check with Susan and Ken after the service near the welcome table to find out how you can help. And lastly, to learn more about the many activities here at FirstU, please consult our electronic newsletter, the EUU. There are a few printed copies available at the back, at the welcome table, back at Worship Hall. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Good morning.
Good morning.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to this beautiful Sunday morning at the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. My name is Reverend Lara Cowtan. My pronouns are she and her, and it is my honor to serve as lead minister for this thriving congregation. I'm joined today on our chancel to create this hour with you by our worship associate, Lori Foster McLeod, and our music director, Jen Burnson, and so many other hands and voices that create this service. We've got a lot in store for you today. I want to say, for those of you online as well, welcome. We know that you are here with us in spirit, and we are all blessed by everyone's presence here. It is your presence that makes this a sacred space. A special welcome to those of you who welcome here. I'd love to know what it is that you're searching for, what brought you into the door. If you want to leave a note at the welcome table, we can connect with you again. All are welcome here on your journeys. Whatever your gifts or your wounds, whatever path you're on that has brought you here, we're so glad to have you. Following the service, we have a very special event today. It's called the annual fire drill. Spoiler alert. We're going to guide you through that after the service. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. And for those who are not comfortable with their mobility, you are welcome to stay in place and just watch the swirl of activity around you. We'll guide you through all of that afterwards. And then come back for everything that's happening, for the fellowship hall activities, for the sale of artifacts from Africa that the Go-Go's are selling, and for all the meetings and activities you have planned anyways. Do come back. This week, to share some words about their connection and commitment to this congregation as part of our annual stewardship drive, I would like to invite forward Jonathan Dench.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I love that I have gotten so familiar to seeing so many of your faces, and this isn't usually the way I get to see you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you why I'm here at FirstU and why I support it. This is the first community of faith I've ever been part of. I was baptized Anglican, but we were definitely not a practicing family. As I grew up, I had the standard phobia of church, and I think one of the first things I'd love to point out is FirstU is not about telling me how I should be, but rather I love the way it asks, how can I meet you where you're at? And that is so important. One of my core values is community, and that's something I really feel here at FirstU. I was actually introduced to Unitarian Universalism by one of my friends. I was visiting them in Toronto, and they said, hey, I've been looking for community and I started going back to church. I said, that's curious. He said, well, do you want to just come with me? I figured, why not? It's good for a lark. I too am literally looking for community. It was a timely opportunity. I remember being there in that space and attending, it was a lay-led service, and I cried. Just literally being in a space where I actually felt this release from my body, where I just knew these people were on a similar page, and just being able to walk around and practice mindfulness and connection and interdependence felt overwhelmingly beautiful. And I told myself, I need to find this in Ottawa. And I'm so glad that I have here at FirstU. I keep coming back because I really do feel that this space welcomes me. It invites me to express my interests and my talents. I'm really delighted in being able to support the religious exploration services, the custodial staff, and the men's breakfast group in the ways that I do, and I look forward to finding other ways that I can show up and just be me with others that actually care about similar things. Most importantly, I really appreciate the growth that I experienced while being held and supported in this expansive space. While community is such a core value for me, I am still trying to unlearn the messaging that I inherited from patriarchal culture in which I was raised. I am unlearning that I don't need to be all-controlling and autocratically savvy in order to be seen, known, and validated as lovable. No, in fact, I love the way FirstU reminds me that I'm able to let myself be an interdependent member of a much more capable and healthy humanity than the one I feel I was raised in. I really desire to step up to the plate of that call of interdependence, and I admit it still feels scary when we talk about pledging money, because that same culture is a capitalist culture in which I was raised, which tells me that I am supposed to hoard money. I must become rich and powerful in order to be able to affect change and vote with the only capacity I have with my money. And I really want to turn that messaging on its head I want to lean into my Buddhist penchants, acknowledge sort of the blessings of Lakshmi, and recognize the opulence that I already have. I don't need to be something more. I don't need to be richer to be safe. I already have the capacity to give my capital to a group of peers, of like-minded people who value growth, humanity, connection, and interdependence. Yeah, I can flip that script and say, here I vote with my dollars. Capitalism, you tell me this is the only thing you care to listen to? Here you go, I vote for FirstU. I pledge my support to them because I am seen, held, and known. And I want to be part of that. I want to be part of a group where it's not about me deciding exactly where every dollar and cent goes, but here are people, here's a group that I trust is aligned with me, and that will allow me to go further than if I stood alone. So thank you for letting me stand up here today and tell you how I feel like I am a part of this group, and how delighted I am to continue supporting, growing, and building the humanity we can all enjoy together.
Service with words from Richard Wagamese in Indian Horse. The change that comes our way will come in many forms, in sights that are mysterious to our eyes, in sounds that are grating to our ears, in ways of thinking that will crash with thunder in our hearts and minds. But we must learn to ride each one of these horses of change. It's what the future asks of us, and our survival depends on it. Come, let us enter into this hour together, open to embracing change. And I'm going to ask Evan to come up and help me light the chalice. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, the light of truth and the warmth of love. Now we do the chalice song. That's it. Come on. So this is a little story that I wrote called Alex's Room. Alex was a young child, but not that young, not a little kid anymore. Alex was starting at a new school. And Alex's parents said, well, new school, new room. Let's have a look at what little kid things in your room maybe that we don't need anymore, so that we can prepare for your big kid room. Has anyone here had a makeover of their room like that? Yeah? Oh, great! So then you know what it's like to have to decide what you're going to keep and what you're going to give away. Is there anything like that you found in your room when you were cleaning it out that you said, I don't need that anymore, Rosalie? Building blocks. Okay, so you didn't need the building blocks anymore. How about you?
maybe blanket, right? Okay. And so things like that, that you loved once, couldn't imagine living without, you're like, maybe somebody else would enjoy this more now. And Alex was given this choice of choosing a new color for the wall, a bright new color that might, cover over those sticky fingerprint marks by the door and the crayon scribbles and some of the oopses. What color would you choose if you could put any color on a wall of a new room? Purple. Pink. And rainbow color. That is a perfect color. I love rainbow color. How about you, Rose? Green. Okay, so you can choose a new color for the wall in your room and make it fresh. Turquoise. What a great color. So everybody has their own ideas about what would make their room fresh and new and not what it was before. So Alex and their parents were looking at stuff, and they had these boxes, and keep and throw, and Alex was looking at this row of stuffies, and took hold of Buster Bear, saying, no, Buster's not going anywhere. We're going to keep Buster. But the other stuffies could go to my little cousin, so that's okay. And they cleared out Alex's space, and made room for a larger bed and a school desk. And wouldn't you know it, there was an empty shelf, and there was an old science experiment, and some old drawings that Alex had found under the bed that had a special place now on that shelf. And at the end, after everything had changed, it was still Alex's room. So Alex was growing up and making decisions about what they wanted to move forward with and what they wanted to leave behind. So is there something that you would like to have in your room that you don't have now that would say this is a big kid's room? Cake. Absolutely. I could not agree more. So the moral of that story, anybody want to tell me? What is it that we're talking about here? About change. About embracing change. And deciding what you're ready to let go of and what it is that you want to move forward to. That is still you, but more of who you want to become. You want donuts? So that's our children's story for today. And we're going to sing you out to your classrooms, and then again with the fire drill, there is a plan. Don't worry about it. We got the kids covered. Each time that we gather for worship, we set aside a moment to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. We do that by sharing our joys and our sorrows, our celebrations and our concerns. Let us settle into that time together now and prepare our hearts for what will be shared with the sounding of our own.
It is the tradition of this congregation to share what we are carrying in our hearts by dropping stones into bowls of water, which symbolize the ripples that go forth from what is in our heart through the hearts of everyone here, and touching, even the ripples touching outside in the world in our larger community. And in this way, we know that we are not alone, and that what we do impacts others as well. So we share our stones for what's happening in our larger community and within our own community here. And from our larger community, we'd like to share a stone of joy and affirmation with the millions of people around the world who marched yesterday in the United States and across the globe in support of democracy and justice. From within our community, we have 2 caring cards on the table for myself and for my mother, Charlotte, who many of you met last week. One day into our Thanksgiving visit together, my mother ended up in the hospital. And so she is there now in the cardiac care unit, receiving excellent attention. So we share stones of healing and encouragement and strength. It is the truth of our human condition that on any given day, there are those among us who are carrying burdens of your health, of a loved one's health, of things happening in the larger world that are out of your control, but of which you care so deeply for, and also celebrations. New life, new jobs, new opportunities, upcoming activities, the things that you are holding to gently, that you wish to share with us. Please come forward as you feel called to. And drop your stones in our water, that we may all share. burdens that we have shared be lightened by their sharing, and may the celebrations be amplified by all of those here. As always, the final stone for those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in the sanctuary of our hearts. I invite us into a moment of silence together to lift everything that has been shared and everything that we hold here together.
And I, along with Mariella and Guy, are the coordinators of the house band, and we're back. And for those of you who haven't heard us before, anyone is welcome to join the house band. Basically, you can sign up and perform in the next performance, and which at this point I think is looking like November 30th. And we have a few rehearsals the week of the performance, so that's the commitment that is involved. We welcome instrumentalists or vocalists. And we're particularly excited to welcome John Emond this morning into the house band for the first time. And we're really excited because he plays the synthesizer. So it's going to be interesting. And we're, so this is our first time playing with the synthesizer, so we'll see how that goes. Also, I was going to say, so we are doing the song Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson by special request from Reverend Lara. And but we were looking at the lyrics and we kind of felt that they were fairly gendered, and so we decided to do a slightly different spin and make it a little bit more inclusive. And so you'll see in our lyrics that we are singing, I'm looking at the one in the mirror, and I'm asking them to change their ways. So as always, we welcome people to sing along, and especially on the chorus. We're going to sing the chorus a few times, and I'm sure some of you know the song. So we're ready to go? Okay.
someone's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wintry knoll, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the ones in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways, and don't message with me anymore. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there are some with no home, yet are pickled alone. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone?
A widow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow each other on the windy sea, 'cause they got nowhere to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the ones in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways, and don't listen to me anymore. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. I'm starting with the ones in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways, don't listen to me anymore. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm starting with the one in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways, and don't listen to me anymore. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I get it right, but you got the time. It's when you close your eyes, then you close your mind. I'm starting with the ones in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways, and don't listen to me anymore. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. Na 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 na
Thank you, husband. Will our ushers please come forward? Thank you. Here they come. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. The offerings collected each Sunday help us live within our values within this congregation and in supporting many good works beyond our walls. Whether you're here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, we rely on one another to keep this congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give in support of the work of our community, please go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or contribute to your annual pledge. If you have a smartphone handy, you can use the QR code on the screen on the back of the order of service to make an online donation. I offer this affirmation of gratitude for the gifts shared today. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may be held by the generosity of others. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our larger community of faith, serving human wholeness and caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another. May the work of our hands and the generosity of our hearts be given in gratitude this day. I have a reading this morning by William Stafford called The Way It Is. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you can do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread.
We cling to our habits and our ideas. Ah, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Did everybody get the opening?
Yes.
All right. Say it again. Faced with the choice between changing one's mind and proving that there's no need to do so, almost everyone gets busy with the proof. Change unsettles us, even when we know it's for the better. It still brings uncertainty and loss. For when we change, we cannot be certain what will come next. We just know it will be different. And if we don't like where we are, different should be good, but we don't know. But the saying goes, the only constant is change. The only certainties, death and taxes. The constant is change. Change is not an interruption to life, it is life. It is every breath, every heartbeat, every sunrise brings transformation. The universe itself is still expanding. It's not done with itself or with us. And even the rocks beneath our feet shift and evolve. How do you think we got rivers? Science tells us that our bodies renew themselves continuously, that cells are dying and being replaced, so that in 7 years, we are literally not the same person we once were. A completely renewed body in 7 years. Octavia Butler put it this way in her prophetic work, The Parable of the Sower. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. That may sound unsettling, but it's also profoundly hopeful. spirit of life, or the energy which connects and nurtures all things, or our highest purpose, whatever that word, God, means to you. However you understand it. If the meaning of God is change, then change is nature. And transformation is sacred. Growth is holy. Our evolution, personal, spiritual, collective, is not something to fear, but something to trust. It's not that it's inevitable, it's that it's good. And we can embrace it. Madison Taylor, author of The Daily Alm, writes, "Trees need their protective bark to enable the delicate process of growth and renewal to unfold beneath without threat. And likewise, we must have our boundaries and defenses so that our more vulnerable parts can safely heal and unfold beneath that. But our own growth depends on our ability to soften and loosen and discard those boundaries and defenses when we no longer need them." It's a powerful image, isn't it? The bark of a tree. It made me think of how many animals shed their skin or become something else within a shell of a pupa, and then suddenly sprout wings and fly away from what they once were. Nature teaches us about transformation over and over, and to trust in that change. One of my spiritual practices for embracing change is labyrinths. Anyone else here a labyrinth lover, walker, journeyer? Yes. It is a way of being a pilgrim. Wherever I travel, I look for one. I know that there are some here. I've not yet been to them, but I will. I've walked them in churches and cathedrals and on beaches and in gardens. And sometimes I just trace the path with my finger on the wooden one that I have in my office. The thing about a labyrinth is it's not a maze. You cannot get lost. You can't see the whole path at once. And you don't know if the next turn is going to take you closer to the center or further away, or if it'll be a short jog to the next turn, or if it's going to be a long, long way until you reach it. The only thing you can do is take that next step and know that you are where you need to be. William Stafford's poem, The Way, reminds us that there is a thread you follow. It goes among the things that change, but it itself doesn't change. When I look at my own life's path, my own journey, my spiritual journey, my calling, it's full of twists and surprises I never could have predicted. But when I look back, I can see there is a thread running through all of it. As a child, I loved reading, writing, listening to people's stories, and that hasn't changed. Through nursing, chaplaincy, ministry, all of it has been different expressions of that same calling, to listen, to care, to accompany others through change and challenges, constantly moving forward more deeply into who I am meant to be. That is the thread. Perhaps looking back, you can see the thread in your own lives as well that has led you through a sometimes surprising and twisty path to where you are now. And if you look back, you can see, of course, it's clear. It all makes sense. It didn't in the beginning. Can you find that pattern in the choices of relationships, or where you lived, the work that you chose to do, the communities that you engaged with? Is there a sense of continuity that has guided you thread that goes among the things that change, but that you hold on to because it is the constant. We human beings, we seek meaning and purpose, and people who share our values. And for many of us, that can mean leaving a faith tradition that no longer fits or serves or feels good. And then we find or create a new one. Find a new community like many here have. Diana Eck, a Harvard scholar of comparative religion, she describes how her own encounters with Hindus and Buddhists deepened her Christian faith. Pluralism, she writes, does not mean giving up our commitments, but opening them up to the challenges of mutual discovery, understanding, and transformation. This is what we do as Unitarian Universalists. We open ourselves up to transformation, ours and others, knowing that the thread of love and justice holds it all together. Will you humor me for a short theology and history lesson? Oh, good. Thought I was getting to know you. One of our religious ancestors, Theodore Parker, whose story I will share more about in November, when the theme of that month is learning from our ancestors. Parker preached a sermon in 1841 called The Transient and the Permanent in Christianity. It was a barn burner of a sermon. It did not make him popular among the Christian traditions of the day, but it sure helped to shape where we have come to. Unlike cradle traditions, ours is a living tradition, designed to adapt and change with the understandings of each age, with all the challenges and opportunities that that entails. The transient and the permanent is talking about that thread, that constant. In his 1845 anti-slavery poem entitled The Present Crisis, Unitarian James Russell Lowell wrote, "New occasions teach new duties. Time makes ancient good uncouth. We must upward, still and onward, who would keep abreast of truth." Our faith has always been about change, about finding new language, new understanding, new expressions of timeless truths as we understand the day that we're in a new way. So in 1961, when the Unitarians and the Universalists merged, they adopted not a creed to be frozen in time, but a covenant of principles to be reviewed and adapted, oriented toward the present context, taking into account modern knowledge and lived experience. About 20 years later, Unitarian Universalist feminists successfully called for gender-inclusive language and the addition of the seventh principle, honoring the interdependent web of all existence, along with the 6 sources of inspirations. And here in Canada, the Canadian Unitarian Council adopted the 7 principles when it became independent from the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is the denominational body in the United States. We were all one big happy family in North America for a while. But we're still closely related. So that was in 2002. And then later, the Canadian Unitarian Council, just 3 years ago, was it? 4 years ago? It added to the very important 8th principle, committing us to working toward multiculturalism, anti-racism, and anti-oppression. So you see the evolution here of the principles that guide who we are
They are not written in stone. They were never meant to be. Just last year, at the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly, they approved a new statement with language that is updated, describing Unitarian Universalism with values and covenant statements. Some of this might be familiar to you. But they said, or they wrote in the statement, that we draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values, which are interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity, all centered around love. We'll be spending more time on each of these value statements in coming months, but today, on our theme of change, the value of transformation reads, we adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete and never perfect. I like that phrase. Never complete and never perfect. It speaks to the humility and hope that keeps our tradition alive, and is a pretty good lesson for us too, in not being stuck. As Suzuki Roshi once said, each of us is perfect the way we are, and we can all use a little improvement. Not someone new, not someone else, but more of who we have always been. Does that make sense? Just like the children's story earlier, Alex's room, about growing up and deciding what to keep and what to let go of, what no longer serves, in order to make room for what we aspire to become, what we want to hold dear, the transient and the permanent, making space for the next version of ourselves. It's scary. There's grief involved, but it's exciting too. That's the work of becoming, the thread that does not change, even as everything shifts around it. We are living in times of great change, in our communities, on our planet, in our understanding of justice and belonging. Here in Canada, the ongoing work of Indigenous reconciliation calls us to reckon with painful truths and commit to repair and relationship and right action. Change here means listening deeply, sharing power, centering Indigenous voices in shaping our shared future together, and aspiring to become more fully who we can be together. At the same time, change movements for the rights and dignity of 2S LGBTQIA+ people continue to push for the visibility and the safety and celebration of every sphere of life, from classrooms to workplaces and within our faith communities. These changes, though often met with resistance, are part of moving that moral arc, bending toward love and liberation, that arc of which Theodore Parker spoke. Each generation, each movement carries that thread forward, sometimes imperfectly, sometimes haltingly, but always toward greater wholeness. We live in a future our ancestors could barely imagine. I would like to tell suffragists like Margaret Fuller that we do have women at the helm of our naval vessels, and queer and trans and non-binary leaders too. And I'd love to tell Theodore Harper, who was an abolitionist, and James Russell Lowell, that a black man has served 2 terms as president of the United States of America. Wouldn't they love to know that? Wouldn't they be surprised? The arc of the moral universe, as Harper said, does bend toward justice, but slowly, unevenly, sometimes painfully, sometimes with a bit of a backward slide, as we're witnessing. It is never complete. It is never perfect, but it is constant. And so we keep moving forward, holding the thread. We change and we are changed. And as Michael Jackson's song reminds us, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. May we have the courage to do just that, to embrace the transformation that life invites us into. May we trust the thread that guides us, the love that sustains us, the spirit of change that renews us. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit and join in singing our hymn with movement. Let it be dance.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts till we are together again. Please rise again in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, Spirit of Life.
and still the melody is love. Hold fast to that thread, let it guide your steps through change and chance and becoming. Go now with open hearts, ready to be changed and to change the world. And with that, I invite us to our fire drill. I introduce Jen. You were warned.
Pretty popular this morning. All right, good morning. I'm Jen Brennan, your operations manager and staff rep on the FirstU property team. Thank you all for participating today. The church has recently implemented a fire plan, and annual fire drills are a required part of this plan. So today we encourage all who are comfortable moving around to participate. If you prefer not to, please observe from the pew so that you're at least familiar with the procedure. If you're watching remotely, please stay with us for a few more minutes. During a real fire alarm, any FirstU and staff board members available would ensure that anyone who was having trouble exiting would be assisted, as long as it would be safe for them to do so. Today, as mentioned, anyone not comfortable exiting can remain in the pews observing. Religious Exploration has their own fire drill plan, which they will also be participating in today. So parents, you will join your children out in the courtyard at the meeting point. For this drill, we will use a bell, not the actual fire system. Once the bell has rung, Lara will be at the podium and will give out some instructions. Members of the property team, who would normally probably be the ushers, will be at the exit doors, and they'll assist with your exiting to the meeting point, which is the Unitarian House courtyard to the east of the church building. And remember, the elevator should not be used during a fire. Once everyone has left the building, the custodian on duty and senior staff will do a sweep of the upper level to make sure everybody is out. Once it's determined the building is empty and safe, someone will announce to those gathered at the meeting point that it is safe to re-enter. Please come on back in for hospitality hour and all of the other of today's goings on. We will time the drill, and at some point after the drill, the property team will assess the success of the drill and make recommendations for improvements that we will implement next year when we do this. Once a year. So, without further ado, D. We gotta wait. We gotta wait for the instructions.
Fire drill instructions for a person at the podium. With raised voice, please convey the following once you have everyone's attention. Fire alarm, fire alarm, fire alarm. May I have your attention? Please remain quiet while I give instructions. Head to the nearest exit. Ushers will guide you through the doors to safety. Do not head anywhere else in the building. Do not use the elevator or washroom. The meeting point is the courtyard of the Unitarian House to the east of the church. Do not re-enter until notified it is safe to do so. Now again, if you're not comfortable getting up and moving around, you can wait here and watch all the activity, and folks will come back in as soon as there's an all clear. We can do this, folks. You remember how this is. Single file. The faster you get out there, the faster you get the all clear, the faster you can come back in. All right.